In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Montblanc 146 notebook. I'll go over the specs, I'll do a paper test, and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about the notebook coming up. Blake here with Blake's Broadcast. On this channel, I review fountain pens, paper, and ink, and as always, I put links in the show notes in the description below. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel. Alright, let's get on with the review. This is the Montblanc 146 notebook. This is a A5 notebook with a leather cover. It has 85 GSM paper, premium paper, excuse me, silver cut, lined, and this is the ruling that you get. It's a 10mm rule, only comes in ruled or grid. I do not believe they do a blank, and I don't believe they do a dot version of this. On the back here, we can just see Montblanc made in Italy. Take off this little jacket. I do like that they tell you about the leather and the paper. So leather, it says calfskin, split, chrome tan, dyed through, Saffiano imprint, origin Italy. Paper, 100% cellulose, uncoated, environmentally friendly, TCF, meaning totally chlorine-free, and the origins Italy. So this leather, this Saffiano leather, it's for a embossed leather. This is a very high-end embossed leather. Now, it's not as nice as a full grain leather, but this has a very durable texture to it. Saffiano leather or style leather is a leather that you see a lot of fashion houses using in their leather products. It's not necessarily something that you'll see that a high-end leather shop would necessarily use, but it is a nice leather. It smells very high-end. It's not particularly supple because of that embossing that they do on it, but it's nice. It feels quite durable. We have this Montblanc star, the snow or mountain snow cap, whatever, and it's raised just like you get on their other, leather products. Now, I found when I first got this, when I put this on my bookshelf, it wasn't exactly perfect because let's do it this way, that thing keeps bumping into whatever book or notebook you have next to it. I've found this to be pretty durable. I've had a few of the Montblanc leather products with this little logo, and it's never fallen off, and so far this has held up, but it's a little bit weird to have that sticking out of the notebook. So, alright, let's open it up. We have a little sticker here which says Montblanc, Florence Italy. So Pelle, I guess, Pelle means leather, and Terria means, I don't know what, workshop maybe, something like that. But Montblanc, they have their own leather factory in Florence. They are not having someone else make their leather goods. I think that is a nice thing that Montblanc does. It gives them quality control over their leather products. So if we flip forward, on the first page we get kind of a history of Montblanc. And then we have a page here that says calligraphy. And if you notice, you get a 10mm rule here, but there's a line in the middle so that you have space, I guess, for you get the midline to help you with your letters, and then you have a place for your descenders. I'm not really sure what they're expecting me to do with this. Am I supposed to practice my letters on one page and then just hope I can do it on these next pages? I don't really know why they did that, but whatever. Now here is the main lined pages that we get, and it doesn't feel like you have a lot of room here. You have this Montblanc logo at the bottom, which takes up quite a lot of space. Let's see here, how much does this take up? Almost 20, yeah, maybe 20 centimeters, so, or 20 millimeters rather, quite a big gap. And then at the top, maybe a little bit less, 18, 19 millimeters. So you have pretty big margins. The lines go pretty far to the edge. You do have more room on this side. When I first saw this, I was worried that the rule was too wide. But after using it, I actually found that these pages are pretty nice to write on. Also, if you can see, let me try turning this light off and see if this helps us at all. So, if you can kind of see, there are these watermarks with that Montblanc logo. There's another one here and down here. So I like seeing the watermarked paper. I think that is a sign of quality. So I definitely like that quite a bit. You have a pretty thick bookmark here. Silver matches kind of the silver cut edges that you have along here. And then in the back, you have a map with time zones, airport codes. This would be useful for traveling if you didn't have your smartphone or whatever. So here's the writing sample. I'll admit it was kind of disappointing. We get quite a lot of bleed from the pilot. This Montblanc 149, the OBB nib, lots of feathering there to the point where I wouldn't use this 149 with this notebook. The Lamy Safari looks good. Don't really see any feathering. Looks good. This TWSBI Eco extra fine nib looks pretty good. The Otto Fude Ball, a little bit of feathering there, pretty minor. A little bit of feathering from the Uniball Air Micro. Everything else looks pretty good. Now, in terms of bleed, Pilot bled through a bit, Montblanc bled through a little bit, and then Lamy was fine, and the TWSBI was fine. No bleed through there. Bleed through in the Sharpie, just the usual suspects, the Copic, the Pilot oil drawing pen, and the Staedtler Lumocolor permanent marker. A little spot from the Pentel Energel, and actually a tiny bit from the Stabilo Sensor Fine Liner. So, again, I feel like if you're not going too wet and wild with the nibs, I think this works. Here you can see a page that I filled with that Montblanc 149. And if you notice here, the feathering is more minimal than what I saw here. Maybe I pushed pretty hard down, I don't know. But this is more passable, but you do get, there is feathering, there's no getting around that. And you do have bleed through on the other side. And you can see there is show through. You look up here, you can see through on the other side. It's not super bad, but it's not particularly good in terms of ghosting. And I think let's try this. Oops. Yeah, that looks pretty bad when I turn that light off. In terms of the signatures, we have 12 signatures. We have a nice thick headband. In terms of this notebook lying flat, it requires a decent amount of coaxing to get it to lie flat. There's nothing that I can see in the construction of this notebook that makes me think that it's constructed poorly. In fact, I think it's a very well-made notebook, but the cover, for whatever reason, it needs time to be broken in. And with time, it will lie flat, but it's not quite as readily available to do that as some other notebooks. And it just might be that the leather is stiff and resisting, but there we go. That is the Montblanc 146 notebook. So what are my pros and cons for the Montblanc 146 notebook? The biggest pro here is that this feels very high quality. You have this luxurious Saffiano leather cover. I like the silver edges. I see those much less than gold edges, so it feels a little bit more unique in that way. I like that the paper has a nice watermark. I like the headband. I like the thick bookmark. It just feels like a very high quality package. Now in terms of cons, this is expensive. It's $66. When it comes to luxury notebooks, $66 is actually kind of reasonable. So it's expensive, but it's not too crazy. Like for instance, these Smythson Panama notebooks, which are much smaller than this, are $75 each. Now the featherweight paper that they use in those is much better than the paper that Montblanc chose. The 85 GSM paper in here is susceptible to bleeding and feathering, especially with those wider nibs. Other thing I don't love, 10mm rule. That is pretty tall. I prefer 7 or 8 or 9. All of those would be better, but 7 is my preferred and I think the more standard for a ruling. I also don't love that you have a Montblanc logo down here taking up a lot of space. They just could have used the space better with the margins and making the ruling thinner. Now, the other thing that I don't particularly like is that even though the binding has 12 signatures and it's stitched, and it is, I do think, very nicely made, this notebook took a lot of time to break in to really get it to lie flat. So in the beginning when you get this, you really need to try and massage it to get it to lie flat. And that I don't really like a ton. You know, compared to the Panama notebook, it is a similar experience, but the leather on this I think is thicker and it just makes it stiffer and harder to get it to lie flat. So, at the end of the day, I think this notebook has its place. I'm going to enjoy using this notebook. I do wish the ruling was smaller, but it is, I have enjoyed using it. It is a luxurious experience to use this notebook. So that is the Montblanc 146 notebook. Do you guys have this notebook? Do you like this notebook? Let me know in the comments section below. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more fountain pen, paper, and ink videos, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much, and until next time.